Hi Realtors, this is Lindsay Jackson, your Chief Advocacy Officer with SCR. We are 3 weeks into the legislative session and steadily moving forward. Education discussion dominated this week's debate in both the House and the Senate chambers. While the House focused on more specifics like testing requirements and assessments, the Senate continued to look at broader education reform. However, even with all the discussion on education this week, SCR continues to work with our lawmakers to move our priority issues forward. S690 that would update the state's flood maps with LiDAR technology was heard in the Senate Agriculture and Natural Resources Full Committee this week. The bill was passed out unanimously and now heads to the Senate floor for their consideration. This bill is a top priority for SCR because it would allow for the Department of Natural Resources to conduct the necessary topographical mapping necessary every 7 years and would allow for more elevation accuracy. S868, dealing with updating beachfront jurisdictional lines, came before the Senate Agriculture and Natural Resources Subcommittee and Full Committee this week. The bill addresses the definition of a primary oceanfront sand dune and provides provisions for when there are no primary oceanfront sand dunes present. If there is no dune present, the bill specifies that the baseline be established at the most seaward edge of the habitable structure or the most landward edge of the active beach, whichever is further landward. This bill is important because it allows structures to follow the contour of the beach and it allows for property owners to have the most advantageous use of their land. This bill now heads to the full Senate for their consideration. H 4811, dealing with perpendicular wing walls, also went before the Senate Agriculture and Natural Resources Subcommittee and Full Committee this week. This legislation allows landward rebuilding on existing erosion control structures and protects property owners if there is a breach in a seawall. This legislation now also heads to the full Senate for their consideration. This concludes week 3 of the legislative session. Stay tuned next week as H 4431, dealing with business license fees, comes back before the House LCI Ad Hoc Subcommittee for a vote. And stay tuned for all the latest news from the South Carolina State House. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.